American cities and neighborhoods are less safe. The truth is, Secretary Mayorkas has disregarded court orders, laws passed by the United States Congress, and has lied to the American people. Who wants a secretary that can just disregard the fundamental pillars of the Constitution? We can't tolerate that, whether they're a Republican or a Democrat. That's what we got out of our hearing last week. Today, we're here to examine the impact of those actions on the American people and launch into the substance and human cost of Secretary Mayorkas' open border policies. As a result of the reckless actions by Secretary Mayorkas, no American is safe. The people suffering from this border crisis don't need platitudes. This hearing is about the human cost of Secretary Mayorkas' egregious misconduct and failure to fulfill his oath of office. The framers of our Constitution were clear that the executive branch officials were expected to follow their duty and enforce the laws of this country, and if they willfully failed to do so, they should no longer hold office. That is why we're here today.
Good morning. Before we begin today's hearing, I want to address misinformation my Republican colleagues are spreading, falsely alleging that Secretary Mayorkas is refusing to testify before this committee. Let me set the record straight. Secretary Mayorkas has testified before Congress more than any other cabinet secretary. The chairman's request to testify, the chairman promised to follow the facts, but Republicans never really intended to do so. They are hurrying to adhere to an artificial timeline agreed in a backroom deal between Republican leadership, who's holding on by a thread, and its most extreme mega members. This isn't a real impeachment. It's a mega spectacle paid for by American tax dollars for Republican political gain.
With his permission, I would ask unanimous consent.
These vast powers, which the Constitution sets out in its very first article, remain among our democracy's most fundamental checks on the exercise of executive power. Despite these vast reserves of constitutional authority, a spike in partisan polarization in recent decades, a refusal to work across partisan lines to solve common problems, has meant the power to address pressing national problems has gone unused. A real difference than you. Policy differences, and I agree with my colleague at the last hearing, no matter how profound, are exactly not what impeachment was meant to be for.
11, 2024.
The weapon of mass destruction has caused unimaginable numbers of deaths, unmeasurable damage to our country's families, including my own. My family is broken. My heart is broken, and he couldn't even be here to face me today. Whatever he's doing that is more important than facing me today, I don't know what that could be.
As a mother, I would like,
in my humble opinion, Mr. Mayorkas' border policies is partially responsible for my daughter's death.
This is the personal side of this chaos created by this man. This is a personal life story of the cause and effect that has happened because of these failed policies on the border. It's destruction and it's death, and it has to stop.
Guest is recognized for 5 minutes.
thank you.
Let's get it together, surge resources to the border, make sure we stop fentanyl from crossing into our country. Every day that we debate over funding levels is another day that more Americans die from fentanyl.